à tous. Grenoble Indian Film Festival est ravi de faire cette ouverture de cette 5e édition avec vous tous. Bien sûr, il y a encore une situation un peu délicate, mais on s'en sort et on est ravis de vous accueillir pour cette soirée d'ouverture avec un film absolument magnifique et un réalisateur qui est basé à Kolkata. J'ai Tathagatha Ghosh avec moi, qui a fait un film qui s'appelle Miss Man qu'on va présenter pour cette ouverture, pour le Grenoble Indian Film Festival 5e édition cette année en 2021. Et on est ravis d'avoir ce film-là qu'on voit voyager dans les festivals à travers le monde et enfin qui s'arrête à Grenoble dans les Alpes et on est super content de l'avoir. Le film et également le réalisateur avec nous. Donc, on fait cette petite interview pour avoir donc son avis et puis connaître un peu mieux ce réalisateur et également son film. Je vais passer en anglais, so I'm switching to English. Tathagatha, welcome and thank you so much for giving us your film for the opening of Grenoble Indian Film Festival, 5th edition. We're super happy, delighted to have you and the film, which is an absolute beauty. I just said that it's traveling the world over, festivals, you aren't stopping. It's such a beautiful journey for you. Huh? How does that feel?
Thank you so much, Sonia, and thanks for having me at this wonderful film festival of yours. I've been following the festival for quite a while, and it's really a great honor for me and for the film and for the entire team of mine to come here and present the film as the opening film. I think that's such a big honor. I mean, it's like winning the award almost of the festival being the opening film. So it means a lot, and I think I'm glad to come to France with this film. It's absolutely, it feels great. It feels great that the film, though it's made in Bengal, it's a Bengali film, it's crossing boundaries, it's crossing language, and now I am reaching out to many more audience and to have a discourse around very important themes that we kind of bring together with this film. So thank you so much for having me.
Update us a little bit about how the film is doing, because I just mentioned very quickly that it was going from festival to festival. How many festivals? You're not even counting anymore, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know. I think around 60 or maybe something like that. But I mean,
fantastic.
Thank you so much. But I think irrespective of that fact, that whether like how many festivals it has gone, I think the love of the audience across the world, that has been overwhelming, and I feel really grateful that everywhere the film has screened so far, we have got really positive feedback, and people are connecting with the film. When I was making the film, I wasn't sure that whether people are going to get some of the nuances that I was trying to address with the film, but I think really destiny has been kind to the film, and here we are at today celebrating the themes of the film through this narrative. So I'm really honored and very happy that this film has given me so much.
It's a beautiful journey for you. For us, it's the opening film. We've never had a short film open the festival. We are making the most of these 2 years with COVID, with everything being online, to say, let's put the spotlight on short films. For us, short films, feature films, no difference. We insist on this for these past 2 years, knowing that everyone's at home, that everyone can also watch these films and say, well, what's going on online? And like I said also to other filmmakers, I'm saying during these interviews for GIFF 2021, that all the taboos that we've had about the halls, about short film, feature film, all these differences, it's like it's all deleted, it's erased, and the boundaries are, just closed, because we just want to watch cinema online. We're not sure about the halls. The halls are also going through difficulties with all the films lined up from stocking due to their closure with the COVID that's been happening over the past 18 months. So everywhere it's a delicate situation, whether it's distribution, production, everything's been in with weird phases. But the good part is that the film, the audiences have got to see all these films, and for them things are still running online, these platforms. We're so happy to say, well, oh gosh, we got YouTube, oh well, we've got this or that, we got streaming and Vimeo and whatever. So we're not like completely lost with, we haven't lost touch with cinema and the world. We've got Netflix, we've got Amazon Prime, obviously. And we said, I'm the first person to always keep repeating on Facebook saying, I want the cinema experience, I want to be in a hall. But it's teaching us that we can carry on with cinema anyhow, and we need to go on with this. What's your feeling about this? You're reaching a bigger audience, right?
Absolutely. I think you summed it up wonderfully, Sonia. Thanks for putting it so well. You are absolutely right. I think initially when COVID struck, and Miss Man, I was supposed to go to London actually with the film for the BFI Flair, which was really exciting. But then COVID struck, and the day actually my flight was to London on 23rd March, if I remember, 2020. That day India went to a lockdown, So I'm grateful that I was in my country and not away from home. Otherwise, it would have been hell for me, obviously, to come back and all that. But I was kind of perplexed. And a lot of festivals, I was getting a lot of emails at that point of time that this festival is postponed or this is cancelled. BFI Player was cancelled, and I was heartbroken. I was all excited for a month to go to. First time I'm traveling abroad with the film, actually. Though my films have played before at different festivals, but this was the first time me coming to a festival outside India with a film of mine. So, but then festivals started going online, virtual, and I was very surprised that how is this possible? How can film festivals, where people are supposed to come together and celebrate cinema together, how can things become online? So it was very new territory, like for all of us. I think it was like unthinkable. But then, as they say, that we have to adapt to, we have to evolve and we have to adapt to new situations. But then as the online festival started happening, I think Miss Man, we benefited the most from that. I realized that many festivals went online, people had access to the film. They had to come to a theater to watch it, which is a sad thing, obviously. Film theaters will remain, obviously, and they should. I mean, they should thrive. Films are made for big screen. But I think the fact that through a festival, which was initially, say, 500 audience member or 600 or whatever the seating capacity is for a particular theater, now simultaneously 1,000 people are watching a film sitting in their home and relaxed, they're relaxed and in their space. So that was pretty amazing, actually. And as you said, I mean, it's kind of democratic, the space, and everyone has access to everything. You no longer need to comply to rules of a theater that this is the time, this is 15 minutes, you can watch a film any time of the day if you have an internet connection. So I think absolutely it's great. And now I think the fact that many festivals are going hybrid, even if COVID is gone and we come back to as we were in 2019, I think festivals should be sometimes hybrid, because I think there are many festivals which happen, like in different parts of the world, and there are many films which are premiered. And I hope that, I mean, piracy is a bad thing, but if I keep that aside, and if they keep the premiere status aside, there are many films I want to see, but I don't have access to it. Now many festivals are going virtual. I have access to a lot of these films. So I'm a film cinephile first, and then anything else. So I want to watch those movies. I want to experience those films. So I think online festivals has really given me access to those films in the right legal way, of course. So I feel that, it's great, actually. I'm enjoying online festivals, definitely. And I think going ahead, hybrid would be a good idea, because the fact that a film is being watched by certain audience members is the most important thing for me, the film being discovered. So I'm completely happy. I mean, both should remain, theatrical and virtual. That's what I feel, and as you correctly said. So it has been great, and I think I really owe to virtual festivals for the film getting discovered by a lot of people in the past 1 year or so.
For us, it's a real privilege to obviously have a film like this. The beauty of it, the story that there is. You're going to tell us a little bit about all that. Start by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came into filmmaking and your interest for cinema. How did that come?
I think I was not, I mean, many would say that I always wanted to be a filmmaker. It's not the same for me. I think I discovered it quite late. Of course, I was always interested in drawing and writing short stories. That was something I did from an early age. But growing up in a Bengali middle-class household, filmmaking by profession, choosing that as a profession was never the case. That was unthinkable. My parents, my family wanted me to be a doctor or engineer in the conventional way. But after I finished my boards exam after class 10, me and a couple of my friends, we started publishing a little magazine, and the goal of the little magazine was to pay homage to Satyajit Ray in every edition. That was where it started. Like, we would collect stories from, writers, amateur writers or professional writers, semi-professional writers, and I would illustrate many of the stories, me and some of my friends. And I took those little magazines, went to different stores in Kolkata or railway stations, and I gave those to magazine vendors, newspaper vendors, to sell them, and I said that keep the money, whatever you can sell. It was at a very nominal price, 20 rupees or something like that, 20 Indian rupees. And you can keep them, but sell this magazines, let people know. And now that I think of it, that was the first time I was actually playing the role of a distributor in a way, going from with a film, it was just a magazine, and not a film. But I from there, actually, the whole thing, I think the kida or the germ was born within me. And after I passed class 12, and then I was watching films, obviously, I think, as a Bengali, Satyajit Ray's films like Feluda, detective stories, and the musicals were, of course, those films we grew up, Pather Panchale, the Oku trilogy and everything. But after class 12, those 2 years, I studied science, and after my boards exam of 12 ended, I watched films. We had a break before the results come out. So in those break, I watched films again. Satyajit Ray's matured works in the sense which are meant for mature audiences, Charulata, Nayok, and all those films. And when I saw those films, of course, I loved them, but I realized that initially, like growing up in India, it was all about film stars for me, Soumitra Chatterjee or Shah Rukh Khan and all of them. But when I started watching those films, I tried to understand that who is this mind behind these frames, behind this work. So watching a film from a director's point of view, it was then that kind of, that thing got into me, and the curiosity kind of grew. And by the time my results came out, I was very sure that I really wanted to study mass communication and videography. So I enrolled into St. Xavier's College. It was a very difficult time for me, convincing my parents to let me pursue it. They were kind of shocked and baffled. It was difficult. But I convinced them, and I took up mass communication videography in St. Xavier's in Kolkata. And I think that was it. Those 3 years, I made many amateur films, failed, obviously, made mistakes. But I think that was my growing phase, and me falling in love more with cinema, watching classics, Kurosawa, Bergman, Truffaut, all those great masters, and discovering their work, and I'm trying to understand what cinema is all about, what storytelling is all about, how to tell a story. So that's pretty much it. It started with drawing and writing, but it usually kind of grew and grew and grew, and here we are now. So yeah.
So the story from when you began and how the passion came to Miss Man, what else has there been with in terms of obviously, film school or whatever courses or whatever?
So after finishing my BSc, my bachelor's at Xavier's, for a year, I pursued postgraduate diploma in screenwriting from Vancouver Film School in Canada. That was really great. That was a very important year for me because I lost my father that year. It really made me who I am, I would say, and I'm still trying to make sense of it, trying to understand myself, and that probably is reflected. That's why identity is a big part of my films, so far. So after I finished that, I came back to India. It was very difficult those 2-3 years. And then in 2018, actually, I made my first professional short film, which was called The Demon. It was a psychological thriller short film, 27 minutes. And then that really went to a few festivals. It was in the competitive section of the Kolkata International Film Festival. and a few other really good ones. So I traveled a bit with the film within India, obviously. So that was really good, and that gave me an encouragement. And it was after that that I made Miss Man, and Miss Man again came from a personal space. It really, the trigger of that film was quite, like a few years back when one of my friends was forcefully married off because he came out to his parents. That stayed with me. I couldn't do much, but then in 2018, towards the end of it, that those events came back to me, and I decided to write the script, and that was the start of Miss Man. So I think Miss Man is actually I would say my turning point that way. But Miss Man is my second professional short film after The Demon. So that was how it is actually.
You're taking a film and a subject that's difficult in today's India. So speaking about the whole LGBT community, anything that touches that subject, anything that's linked with that, knowing the place that we have in our society. So I'm just saying this for people going to watch this interview. By the way, it was important. I'm just coming back for a second with what you did in studies, because that inspires people. Very important. Me being a teacher also at the university, I think it's important for people to understand, oh, well, he did this, so I can also try that. Now, coming back to Indian society, us both being Indian, knowing that Indian society, what is the space, LGBT space in Indian society? For a child, for a teenager, for an adult, a young adult, not knowing where they stand, maybe, with their sexuality or whatever. So in the situation, tell me if I'm wrong, what do we have in terms of, codes or any kind of guidance or any kind of help that we have in our society, whether it be spiritual? Yes, there's a little bit of that on the cultural side. We do have and accept that we have eunuchs in our society for various events, something I'm comparing now with France, which is so different. And we do not have this rapport that we have, where when kids are born, we're going to have, eunuchs come and bless them, or it could be very auspicious, and we look forward to that. So there is some kind of space for some things, and then other things are really banned, forbidden, and we refuse to see them as they are when speaking of a proper LGBT, in that space, relationships, linking with, a love relationship, or thinking in that sphere, what kind of a future does a child, an adult, a teenager have, thinking, well, I don't feel that I'm a boy, I don't feel I'm a girl, I don't feel that I could be in love with, me being a woman, I don't think I could be in love with a man. Or for a man or boy to say, young adult to say, I don't think I could, this is not my thing. And very quickly in that society, with now the other at another level, to say, well, who supports that and how is it taken in our society, with the Supreme Court having, accepted homosexuality very recently, with our filmmakers themselves saying, oh, well, I'm coming out and here's my position, and not being accepted or being trolled on Twitter. I'm saying all this so that people gather and get the info of what it is in 2021 in India, being part of the LGBT community, and finding that, no, you do not have your voice. So you decide you want to make this film. I'm coming back to the filmmaker. I'm also coming back to the young man who says, I'm going to make this film and I'm looking for trouble, because I do not know if I'm going to find a producer. It takes courage, right? In 2021, 2020 as well, to say, I want to speak about this subject. It's not going to be simple, but I want to do this because this is the film I want to make. This is the story I want to tell. Your friend goes through that experience. You want to bring it out on celluloid and say, who do I have as a producer? How did you get this thing together as a filmmaker? The story behind this. It's vital that we understand, is it a struggle today for a filmmaker to get onto a subject like this? Do you find a producer easily? Was that an easy subject to, handle?
Well, I think, thank you for that question. For me, actually, Sonia, I produced it myself. I financed it myself as well. So I didn't look for a producer. Because I knew, as you correctly said, that I knew that I would have to go to a similar situation of explaining my vision. I mean, this film is actually also experimental in nature that way. Like the way though I would say if you would have read the script when I wrote it, it was very linear actually, the way the script was written. So it was not how the final film is actually. So when I wrote the script, I think a lot changed actually after I had Orgho, the protagonist who played the lead character in the film, on board. He actually gave the film a new direction. He inspired the film in a lot of ways. But I produced it myself because I have had similar experiences before, and I have seen, people, or I have gone through that myself, that sometimes questions which are not related to the film are asked, and I felt this is something actually got inspired from Warner Herzog. He said that nowadays, especially because it's a short film, I could do that possibly, that if you have a story to tell, and if you have like some like-minded people who are kind of willing to help you to bring that story together, just jump in, save for a year and make your movie. And that's exactly what I did. I actually saved money for a year. I was patient through 1 year, and I knew that I'm going to make this film. And that's how I kind of put the project together. Because I wanted, especially for the films that I'm making, The Demon, Miss Man, or the new film, The Scapegoat, there might be interferences from people that do not show it this way. What will people think? What will people think, and what will be reaction of this? Maybe this will not be comprehensible to certain section of the audience. But I wanted to make the film that I wanted to, from the beginning. And that is where I was coming from. And then I kind of I decided that this is a short film. I can take the risk. If I have this much money, let me take a year to save that money, or maybe a little more than a year, 1 year, 2 months, or 1.5 years, and wait patiently. And let the film also grow within me, and so I think that is something I did for The Demon. I did that same thing for Miss Man, and with The Scapegoat as well. I saved money and put the project together. So I didn't go to a producer because in search of a producer, because I knew that what if my vision is compromised? And I'm very protective about these films because this is part of me. And when someone will tell me what to do and how to do it, I might not be okay with it. And that I respect the decision, of course. But by choice, I did that. I imposed that no, I have to make it this way. And I would not really, and if I fail also, I will fail it. I'll fail myself. I will not have someone's money at stake and then fail. So by choice, whatever, nobody owes anything to me. And this is something actually I think I heard from Anurag Kashyap. He said in some inspiring talk that the world doesn't owe it to you. You owe it to yourself. And I think I believe that actually. I owe it to myself. And that's why I took the baton in my own hand and I produced this film. So, and thankfully, thank God I did it, because then that's why Miss Man shaped up the way it is now when you see the film. Because it is only my vision. And
there's a total liberty of just everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's how it is actually. So that's where I was coming from. And I think also a big part I would say that is also the casting, I would say, because sometimes the producer might say that, I don't think that this will be right. And, there are a lot of things that come into factor. I cast a non-actor, Orgho, who acted. Many people actually said he's a non-actor. He has never acted before.
Wow.
So when I read the script to him for the first time, he's a school teacher, actually. He said that this is my story from 5 years back. He could relate with the character so much that I didn't have to workshop him as well. It felt like I was shooting a documentary. And that's why I think I got the full freedom of casting the people I want to cast.
So looking at your actor, I'm coming back to that because this was my next question. and like you said, once you found the actor, it just changed everything for you. He is so fantastic. He is so fantastic. The story is beautiful. So I bet that, you know, the support that you've written must also be hyper solid, because you can see that there's something extremely solid there. And then his work as an actor, but feeling, you know, coming from where his own experience, but also feeling, and then you've just worked beautifully together, both of you, in understanding each other's minds and emotions, because there's a lot of that. There's society, but it is so beautiful and so fluid. It has this quality of just, you just get into the story and you're just carried away by the what's going on, and the whole emotion of everything, which is quite interesting. So because you did not do a workshop, how was, you know, you're coaching him, because there is something written? Was there a lot of improv? How did you work?
By workshop, what I meant specifically was not me going through the lines and the scenes, you know, that of course we did a reading and I told him what I want. What I did was that I sat down and I chatted with him, you know, over a couple of months, just talking about life, about future plans, career, you know, like all that stuff. Basically what I do, this is something I do with all my actors, not only with him. Anyone, I actually, so far, I haven't auditioned, you know, like I think audition, for me, audition, like you come in as an actor, I give you some lines, you read it, you are great, but that doesn't mean that me and you will get along really well. There might be differences. So it's basically, for me, it's trying to know you as a person, who you are, and whether we will get along well. So before I cast and before I commit, if I have someone's face, I sit down with that person over a cup of coffee and just try to understand that whether we will get along well at all. If I feel that it's not clicking, then at the end of the session, I say that I'm writing a script, or I have a script, and will you be interested? So my first intention is trying to understand that who this person is, whether we share the common interest in movies. As Jean-Luc Godard said, obviously, that those who don't like the same film will divorce. So I think coming from there, I think I actually believe that. So I just try to understand whether we share the same passion or not about life, about movies in general. With Argo, I did that. Of course, I mean, when I saw his picture, it's Pyle, who played the sex worker in the film. She sent me Argo's picture first and said that, yeah, she asked me after reading the script that, who do you have for the lead character? I said, I don't know, but I wanted someone from the community, because I think presentation is very important, and I wanted to work with artists from the queer community in my city. And that's why, and when Pyle said that he's not an actor, he's a friend, I know him from some time, will you like to see his picture? I think he might be good. Just check him out. So he sent me a picture. She sent me a picture of Argo from the Pride Walk the previous year. And when I saw it, I like, yeah, this is the guy I'm looking for the character. And then with Argo, I think, and thank God, I mean, I chose him, because the moment he stepped in the team, the structure of the film, by talking to him, I started having these dreams. I started having this collage of moments in my mind, you know, like the film sort of took control over me. Rather than me controlling the film started controlling me. It was some divine intervention or something. I don't know what it was actually, but the film dictated me what to do. And I went with the flow. It was very organic, you know. And we were shooting over weekends because Argo had a day job. Argo, as I said, he teaches in a school. So we were shooting only on Sundays, and we shot over 4 weekends. And I used to come back to home, saw the rushes, and kind of figured out that what I want to do. Though I storyboarded everything, but we, as you said, we improved a lot actually. But the improv was very organic, because Argo is not an actor. So because in between shots, he might be standing near a window and looking up. And that there was something in that moment. It was very pure. It was very holy. It was very sacred. I just told my cinematographer that just roll the camera and capture this moment. I don't know if I will use it, but I will keep it for myself. But in the edit table, by the time I reached the edit table after this 4 weekend of shoot, I knew how I wanted the film. So the montage structure, the dreamlike quality that I wanted the film to gain, that actually was my dream. That I dreamt of those shots. It came back to me again and again and told me what to do. So this film was the fastest to it. It is not that we were trying to figure out, though my editor was a little unsure at the beginning that people will understand, but I think it was so organic that by the time we finished the film with the sound mixing and everything, we were very sure that, yeah, this is working actually. So I think it was a beautiful process. And part of the film, I wanted to do the film, I realized the purpose of making a film. I educated myself. I became more mature as a person. I grew as a person. I actually got to know about gender fluidity also a lot, using pronouns, using a lot of other things which I was not aware about fully. I educated myself. Thanks to Argo, thanks to Ratri, who played the transform and mentor character. Her scenes were written just 4 or 5 days before the shoot. I had conversations with her, and that's how her scenes were written. So this film actually was the result of true collaboration that way, I'm really thankful to this artist that I met them and I worked with them. And I think this film just, I don't know if I can make a film like this again this way, because this film just happened. I don't know how. I'm still trying to understand how this came together, but yeah. It's very
I'm coming back to the subject. So without giving away everything, I mean, we are coming to a society where men should get married to women, women get married to men, typically parents obviously deciding for everyone. That's just the way it works in India. So the typical society that we have, and the way things are organized, this is the way things are decided, an arranged marriage, and then you got to be ready, and you got the age, you're ready to get married, and your parents marry you off. So in this story, there's obviously there's the hesitation, there's no, I want something else. It's a difficult subject, and yet it's so into our culture and our society. Once the film is made and once the film is out there, so the first people who see the film is obviously your community. I mean, your actor, their community, I imagine, get to see the film. What's their reaction? How do they react to this?
You mean the people who worked in the movie?
Yes, the people who worked in the movie, and maybe their friends as well, saying, oh, this is going to be really a film that's going to, make a mark and move people and change something in our society. How did they react to this? Did they like the story? Did they feel, wow, this is amazing? Or did they tell you, no, just be careful with this, you're going to have problems?
No, actually, thankfully, nobody reacted that way, thankfully, the moment Argo was one of the first people to see the film, because I really wanted him to see the film first, because he was the protagonist of the film. He was surprised, obviously, and he had tears in his eyes when he saw that, because first of all, this is his first film, and then this is a film which actually, crossed paths with his own life in strange ways. He could identify with a lot of those moments in the film.
And then also your friend who's inspired this story, obviously all of them. Huh?
Exactly. And that's why it was very personal to all of us. So everyone reacted overwhelmingly, in a positive fashion to the film, and they were kind of taken aback by the film, actually. This is working, this is really good, and I think we made what we wanted to make. I'm talking about my team. And then I think for the first time, till then, before we had the first screening, the world premiere actually happened in Bangalore at the Bangalore Queer Film Festival, and then immediately the next day we had a screening in Chennai at the Real Desires Chennai International Queer Film Festival. I was there for the Chennai screening. So I saw the film at one of the first 2 screenings, and that was the first time I knew that, the film is actually communicating with the audience that I wanted it to. It was a great screening. It was one of the most memorable screenings of my life, actually. First of all, seeing the film with an audience for the first time. Till that point, only our cast and crew saw the film, and they were very hopeful about the film, very positive. But once the film started, like screening publicly, and I was watching with the live audience, and they were clapping, like in one of the scenes. Of course, I'm not giving away anything, but in one of the scenes where actually, like one of the last scenes where, like things, the protagonist acts on something, that scene really had people clapping and people were cheering for the protagonist. So I knew that people were communicating with the film, with the character, and they were on with me the journey. And then I knew the film was really working, and I was very, very happy, and I was very emotional actually. That after that screening, the Q&A went on for quite a while. I remember after the screening, when I stepped out of the theater, people were, like there was one. There was a trans woman who came up to me and hugged me and said that thank you for making this film. For the first time, someone showed a journey like my journey, because I come from a rural space. So someone showed my journey on the frame, on celluloid. So it was pretty amazing actually, and all the screenings validated that fact. The Kolkata screening in the December 2019 was also great. So with the screenings, people were really connecting with it, and I was very keeping fingers crossed. And I was very worried that whether the representation is right, whether I got the gender politics right, because that was something I was very, very careful about, and very worried that did I do it well, or is it like I messed up? But thankfully, as the reactions kept on coming, even the most rigid audience were very welcoming to the film. Like they reacted very positively, and then I was like, yeah, I mean, thank God, I think I really did something right. So it's absolutely for my cast, and I think for my cast first, and then of course my crew, all of them. So it was great actually, and I think the film couldn't have got a better response than what it has so far.
It's obviously very moving in the sense that it's not violent. There's no no victimization in okay, we're victims of society and this and that. We don't have the burden of that. It's fresh at the same time. There's what it is, in the raw sense, with the suffering, the pain, whatever that there is of the situation as it lies in Indian society, without there being this the miserable side of things, and you're not playing on that. You're not playing on the neither the victim nor the violence. Which then, do you feel that also maybe helps people understand the situation, and you're creating awareness in a way, because you're being gentle about it, because you're saying it it's extremely violent despite there being no violence, because when you're not, I mean, there's refusal, there's the whole subject is already violent. Yeah. But the fact that you haven't put it in a something that on screen is, either accusing or trying to rebel against something, is a nice way of bringing the subject and creating awareness. Did you feel that this also obviously helped you in the way you've put it and the way you're showing it?
That's a great question. I think yes, definitely did. I mean, of course, there are scenes which are violent, as you said, at the beginning, at one of the first scenes in the film. But I think it's probably, like people connect with the themes probably of acceptance, because if we just take out the fact that it's a queer film, this is a film about identity. Like anyone who is trying to, as an artist, as an individual, even if you're, of course, if you're from the minority in the society, whatever it is, I think people have connected with the journey of taking a stand for yourself in society. I think that is why probably people have reacted positively. Of course, I didn't want it to be a message film, like per se, you know, like films which give out social message so loudly.
Right.
That was like at the back of my mind. I mean, if it's okay, it's okay. I mean, whatever people want to take it that way. There are always some takeaways from a film. But I think for me, it was about like someone trying to claim their identity, someone trying to be who they are. And that is something I have grappled myself with. When I lost my father, who meant everything to me and whom I hold in very high esteem, when I lost him, Sonia, that was something I grappled with. That who am I? I was alone in a country which is where I am not born and brought up, first time away from home, and I was trying to make sense around me, and I was trying to be who I am, but it was difficult for me to be who I am in a space like that when things are, you know, like alien to me. The culture is alien to me, you know. So it was very difficult to make sense of things and yet be who I am. And that is what I wanted to address. So through this film, I am actually telling my story as well. You know, like fighting against the odds. If you see, there is a scene where the protagonist is coming to the city for the first time. For a reason, obviously, that people, when they see the film, will know. That is actually me traveling out of my own space, of my own city, and going to a new country. So if you see that, those themes, those scenes are actually autobiographical in me. And I think those are things which I have actually kind of tried to, put in the film through the journey of the characters. So that's why people could connect with it. And I think people could relate to the universal theme of the movie. That's why, more than a queer film, this is a story of a journey. And anyone can relate to it. I mean, this is a story of an underdog, if you can put it that way. So I think these are the things which have made the film, people have received the film so warmly, I think. One of the reasons, because this is not only a queer film, Jim. This is much more than that. This film is about love. This film is about love beyond anything, any barriers. So, yeah.
We living in France, having, our laws, access to the gay pride, lots of associations. Our festival last year, we were partners with Submangal, Southdown, and the film was the last film that was supposed to come out. We were partners with the LGBT International Festival of Grenoble, and that is 2 days before that we had the lockdown in March. So this was going to be something where I said, well, even Bollywood, has its moments where they're speaking about these subjects, and where it's been obviously important. And then you've got, obviously Tathagatha Ghosh, and you've got Karan Johar, and lots of our filmmakers also who are, have something to say about that and are defending that cause and have things to say. With us in France and with the situation that we have, we're fortunate. We're fortunate. There's lots of things going on. There's lots of activists and associations and events and festivals around this. Very famous and a good festival here in Grenoble as well about that. Despite being there, despite having everything, despite it all being there, we've got places in France called Le Refuge, like the refuge. And these places in many cities are places that are going to welcome and host and give accommodation to young boys and girls who've been thrown out of their families in 2021, 2020, normal French families who've been, discarding their kids because these kids have been saying, well, I don't know how I feel about my sexuality, and maybe I'm gay, and or maybe I don't understand what I am exactly. And these are people who've had their kids, on the streets. And so Le Refuge has been, giving them accommodation with different associations, fantastic, beautiful work with different associations, and been saying, well, we are giving you this space, come, you can live here. Now, this is hope for people like that, and teenagers, and the work never stops. despite all these associations, despite the money going out, because once you're broken in your head, you're broken for life, despite you being able to overcome that, but the bruises are there forever. Your film is obviously has the educational side of us. With awareness, there comes education, and us preparing as citizens, part of this society, to say, well, I should not let this happen. Me being a teacher at the university, I go, well, are my students well in their heads? You know, which then is such an important question. So did you feel that this is going to be one of the films one day that is going to be serving this purpose and saying, well, this could be a film that's going to be shown in a lot of cinematheques. This is a film that's going to be shown in lots of maybe high schools or universities, you know, for people to really understand what happens and what a person goes through when you're forcing them to live a certain life that doesn't correspond to them. And this is in any country, whether it's forcing the person to get married, whether it's forcing them to live in a certain way or behave in a certain way, because boys don't do this and girls don't do that, and you know, the whole education that comes with it. Do you feel at some point that yes, this is going to be a reference, and I'm saying it to you today, I'm not inventing anything, you've made the film and you're seeing how powerful it is and beautiful it is in that sense, with the message and with everything. It's going to create awareness, and this education is going to be part of that. And did you feel that this is going to be something that's going to be serving a purpose?
Not while I was making it, but I think in the process of the film being screened at many places. Actually, as a matter of fact, Sonia, the film was shown at 2 universities. And it was discussed in the class. One in Italy at the Venice University this year, actually, and one previous year at the University of Louisiana. So the film was actually shown in the class as a part of gender studies in Louisiana, and then it was a part of like interaction with the students at the Venice University. So it was amazing, actually, and people were so reacted so well to the film. But not while making the film, I realized this. It was after the film was made and the film started its journey, and people said that the film, actually, what you said, actually, like I understood from my interaction with the audience that, yeah, maybe this film is important in terms of, studying gender fluidity, for understanding sexuality, like in a way, different themes actually of the society around us. So not while making it, no, I was not conscious. I think I made the film like the way I wanted to initially, and not think about anything else. I think, thank God, I didn't have that mind that this film can actually serve this purpose, or this film can do this. Like that's the goal of the film. I just made the film because I wanted to make the film. That's it. And I think that is also something I realized. That is my takeaway also, that to not think about like what will happen with it, or what will come out of it, but just make the film like the way it is supposed to be. The rest is, I think, the film's journey, and the film will find its audience. I believe that. So yeah, that was pretty much how it went.
Right. So I'm just taking a couple of seconds to just say in French, tous les festivals partout en France, regardez ce film. Vraiment pour la classe, pour les universités, je pense que c'est vraiment quelque chose qui va rester, et c'est un film extrêmement important qui va changer quelque chose. Le regard que nous avons vis-à-vis de l'autre dans justement ces communautés-là, je pense que ça vaut vraiment le coup de le considérer et de de le partager, de le voir et de le partager dans des sphères publiques pour faire changer quelque chose. I'm saying it's going to be important saying this to festivals wherever, anywhere in France, saying, well, this is going to be an important step. It's still traveling in festivals. You said it's like gone to 60 festivals, and I'm wishing you many, many more. This has to be seen everywhere. This film really has a purpose. Is such an important film, such a beautiful piece of work. So I'm coming to now what's coming up next. You finished that finished a while ago, and you've already gone into your next film, which is also a huge hit and is traveling the world over. So a couple of lines about the next one.
Actually, the film which I finished at the end of last year and at the beginning of this year, The Scapegoat, that is traveling right now at different festivals as well. So which is really exciting, and that film also speaks about the rising of a woman against the patriarchy and hate politics in her village. It's a woman's story from rural Bengal. Also, I think reflects on the times we are living in, extremely difficult times we're living in. So that was The Scapegoat, which is also screening at different festivals now. And the film that I intend to make next is actually a short film called Footprints, which is right now in pre-production. It's a story, again, which is probably the most personal film that way. It is actually a film which is based on people I know firsthand, people around me, and it's a part of my life in a way. So Footprints is the next film that I'm intending to make. So yeah, that's pretty much what has been going on that front.
It's interesting to see that. I mean, there's this positive energy, and that you're hanging in there despite COVID, despite the crisis. I mean, it's so important to be creating. It's so important to be going forward. It's so important to be continuing doing what you're doing. I'm not going into detail about anything and asking you about any of the projects that you're working on, because I really am wishing that you go to bigger festivals and so that we can keep everything confidential with what you're doing, so that you get the best access to obviously top festivals, because you've got beautiful work that needs to be shown, it's great that we've got filmmakers like you, and where you're home. Grenoble is your home, and feel welcome to come anytime. Anyone who's been here to Grenoble Film Festival. We're small, we're not big. It's only our 5th year, but we defend filmmakers with passion and are there and are absolutely motivated to support your work, look at what you're doing, and be able to guide you, encourage you, so that you keep going and giving us a wonderful film, because it's not easy. Filmmaking is just really difficult. It's really hard.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for the kind words. Means a lot, means so much coming from you. You are someone who has inspired me since the time I know you. But I think, as you said, your festival might be small in that way, but your festival cannot be small. It is big with intentions, and I think it has a big heart, because it celebrates cinema like the way cinema should be celebrated, and I think that is the most important thing for any festival. So I'm glad that my journey with the festival is starting with Miss Man, and I hope that God forbid next time we can all celebrate in person. And
right, really. I mean, we really wish to have you here with us, because then we can share things, and people can really get to see you and know you, and it's really so important. That
I think this is what I actually miss about I mean, as much as I'm in for online festivals, I think I really miss interacting with the people physically, because I think, of course, I mean, we can actually network from our laptop screens or from mobile screens as well. But I think nothing like sitting down in person with someone and, like having a heart-to-heart chat or conversing about life, about cinema, anything for that matter. So that is something I miss, and I hope that we can, as I said, we can celebrate in person next time, hopefully when things look better and brighter.
Yes, and see, well, our work never stops with PR of, for promoting Indian cinema for like 20 years at Cannes, but also in our festival, also getting the audiences to see all over France and other festivals and relaying information, whether it's with distributors or co-production or all the different phases and stages of filmmaking. Because we believe in the evolution. I mean, the people we've known, and this year in the festival, we have people like Abhirup Basu, whose film was at the Short Film Corner at Cannes in 2016, and then little by little, now he's with just done a short film with Adil Hussain, one short film, and Pankaj Tripathi, another short film. And we observe, like with Saurav Rai, like with Payal Kapadia, we've done PR for all three of them and had them, and obviously sponsored Abhirup to Cannes. But seeing the evolution, seeing that they're there, and knowing that with every single film you start from scratch, and you will need PR, and you will need to be known, and you will need to start your fan following and create that space for yourself. And it doesn't happen on its own, and it doesn't happen even with visiting a festival. For you to build that up, it's little by little, and we intend being that space that follows you and that is in touch with our filmmakers, so that we see them evolve, we see them go forward, we see them pass and go from short to first feature, different feature films, and do that journey and cross over that path, which is another huge step. And we're delighted, and we're delighted at the same time. Yes, I mean, COVID will come to an end with us, for example, this year, Payal being in official selection with Directors Fortnight, having made a feature there, and we say, no, we're going to keep it, and we want maybe, let's look at this for next year. And we want to, so that we can really, like we said, physically have people go forward, take it another step. This is our 5th year and our 6th year, 7th year to, really get people coming. So we're looking at all this and following you, expecting to meet you at Cannes, obviously, at other festivals in France, because you've got a whole lot of wonderful, great festivals in France where they should have your films, and also in terms of distribution, and hoping for the best, so that these films get to be seen everywhere and the public has access to them. So I'm wishing you really immense luck and good fortune for all your projects, everything that's coming up, and because the talent is there, you've got everything you need, yes, let's stay in touch, and immense thanks for giving us your film. And I'm so impatient to have the audience get back and tell us what's going on. And if we have a moment, because it's our 5th edition, we're going to have invitees coming in, just saying a little hi on Instagram lives from time to time during the festival. So perhaps it would be a good idea if we have you one of the Insta lives, and we have people asking questions, or come with a list of questions a couple of days after, and say, hey, these are the questions people have, and let's answer these questions. And
absolutely, that would be fun. Sure. I think that is what, like, interacting with the audience is the most important thing, and I feel that is what the film is made for the audience. So I'm really totally looking forward to this, and I hope that more people discover it, talk about the film, and let other people know to watch the film as well. So fingers crossed for a great screening. Thank you for
we're crossing our fingers, and we thank you for everything, and I'm going to be in touch with you. And I'm really impatient. I'm really impatient to get feedback from the audience on. This is one of the films that I'm really looking forward to seeing what people are saying. Meanwhile, I've seen that you never stop and you're at it day and night with everything that's going on. I wish you energy, strength, and you know, luck and beautiful films that we're going to keep seeing with you, thanks to you. Huh?
Thank you, Sonia. It means a lot. I really hope that I continue doing the work that I'm doing, and hopefully engage with the audience more and more, and hopefully get better with every film. So thank you so much for your support and your kindness. And I think it is only for this support that you know, like someone like me can head towards better tomorrow with the films.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. But you got the talent, and you got everything it takes. And you got everything it takes. Thanks a million. Speak to you soon. Please take care. Mask and everything in terms of COVID. Stay protected.
Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe and take care. And see you soon.
See you soon.
A bientôt.
Thank you, everyone.
A bientôt. French word. See you soon. A bientôt.
A bientôt. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.